name is Jarrett Solomon. I'm one of the partners here at Connecticut Wealth Management. I'm here with Emily Wood, our Director of Financial Planning, our financial planner extraordinaire, and I think it's fair to say self-proclaimed tax nerd. We're here in December and can think of no better topic than year-end income tax planning. So as a CTWM client, you've likely been having tax-related discussions over the past few weeks and months, but there are a few weeks left in the year, and we wanted to make sure we touched base on some year-end tax planning strategies. At CTWM, we break out our tax planning strategies into certain things that we look for every year, and then certain strategies that we plan for from one year into the next. So Emily, do you want to touch on some of those things we look for every year?
I'd love to. Let's dive in. With year-end, it really tis the season to look at year-end tax planning and make sure that we've ticked and tied a bow around 2021 tax planning items. I think it's also important, though, that we explain these tax planning recommendations with the caveat that things could change. We're constantly getting updates from Congress about what tax law may or may not look like. So let's break it down and talk about some standard tax planning items that we do year in and year out. The first recommendation is to get organized. You're probably getting some documents in the mail now. You want to hang on to those as you meet with your CPA in the coming year. We also want to make sure that if applicable, you have safe harbored your tax payments. Said another way, you've paid in enough to avoid penalties and interest. We also look to year end as being the time to capture and finalize any Roth conversions or contributions. A really important point this year, as Roth IRAs might be on the table with some congressional changes. Other items are bunching your charitable deductions or bunching your itemized deductions generally. A lot of our clients use appreciated stock positions or donor advised funds to facilitate those gifts, particularly at year end. And last but not least, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about capital gains, which has been a pillar of some debate around what congressional tax law changes might look like. Basically, we want to make sure that if you have the opportunity to recognize capital gains at 0% or a relative discount for you, we want to capture that opportunity. So that's absolutely what our teams have been doing throughout the year, but certainly in this month.
Yeah, so we say this all the time, right? There are savings to be had if you are paying attention and you are proactive. So Emily, do you want to touch on some issues that are relevant, particularly for this year as we look perhaps into next year and some possible legislative changes?
Absolutely. So there is the potential always for legislative change, but uncertainty is not an excuse for having a well-designed and implemented tax plan. So it would be impossible to mention all of the potential tax strategies one should consider if tax law change occurs, but let's identify a couple. Ones that are on our mind are if it makes sense for your particular situation to bring income into 2021 that you otherwise would bring in 2022. That's particularly relevant for folks who are selling their business or considering any sort of exit out of a realized investment position. The second piece, which gives me a little bit of hope actually, is there is a discussion to raise the state and local tax deduction limit. That's beneficial for a lot of our clients situated in the New England region who pay a lot in state and local taxes and have been limited for how they can reduce their federal income tax. It's going from a $10,000 limit to an $80,000 limit. So some hope there. I think the final thing that I'd leave our viewers with is particularly for folks who are considering starting a new business. S-Corps have been a popular entity choice. There are some proposed legislation to make profits from an S-Corp subject to an almost 4% surcharge. So if you're thinking about starting a new business, great opportunity to come back to center, regroup with your professional advisory team, and contemplate what your entity choice should be.
Yeah, each of those has the potential to be very impactful for our clients. I would say most notably that change to the state and local tax deduction cap. We've seen many of our clients take the standard deduction over the last few years since that change came in 2017. Now, as we look to move forward, and if that change were to occur, many more of our clients would be back itemizing.
Exactly. And as we mentioned, change is a constant. I want our clients to know that we talked a lot of technical today. We're paying attention to those details so that you don't have to, and constantly reevaluating what's happening in DC so that you don't have to worry.
Exactly. So on that note, we thank you for your time, and as always, please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions.